Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In this one we're going to go over the NBA for Thursday, October 24th. And as you can see, the opening odds are on the screen. And we're going to start with Boston versus Washington. Boston minus 13.5 point favorites opening and minus 111 cost. Washington 13.5 point underdogs on the spread. On the spread, that is. Boston started at minus 900 on the negative 900 on the money line, plus 600 on the money line opening odds, and as it stands, they are minus 850. The Celtics are plus 590 for the Washington Wizards. Minus 13.5 points for the still the same 13.5 points, minus 110 cost. So nothing much has changed on the spread. Over under is at 233.5 at minus 108 cost for the over. 233.5 under at the minus 112 cost. And yeah, let's get started with that. That is adjusted to minus 900. Where are the splits though? Let's see where the splits are for this game. 95% going with the Celtics on the money line. 90% of the betting, that is. 90% of the money going to the Celtics on the money line. Spread 13.5 points favorites for the Celtics. 60% going with the betting going with the Celtics. 72% of the money going with the Celtics on the spread. The spread is at minus 110 cost. Over under, the over cost was minus 108. 233.5. 81% going with the over. Over is getting 75% of the money. Now, only 10% here going here. 5% of the betting going with the Wizards. 10% of the money going with the Wizards. Now, when the sharps go in, they may push this Washington money up to 15, 16, 17%. And this betting is going to go up near it as well, around 15, 16%. That's when the sharps are the heavy bettors. They're definitely going to push this Washington, get this payout right here. If you see that happen, then more than likely the Celtics are going to remain, especially as they remain that huge favorite at minus 850, and they start out at minus 900. But the Celtics look safe in this one. Plus 590 for the Washington Wizards. They have gone down in value. They were at 620 earlier in the after the Celtics first game. They were at plus 620, plus 610. Now they're down to plus 590. That could be because they're getting more and more betting. If you see this go definitely down significantly as their betting odds go toward, let's say if it does go to 15% of the money, then the Wizards more than likely could win this game. But that's only if that happens. Their betting goes down to plus, well, their odds go down to plus 500, and their money percentage on the money line goes to, let's say, 15%, 16%, 17%. Then you got to consider the Wizards in this game. But as it currently stands, the Celtics look safe. Over under, 85% going over, 81% going over, 75% of the money going over. I say the over is a safe pick currently, but this minus 112, if this goes, let's say this goes to, it has to go above that minus 115. So 118-ish, minus 120-ish. It probably won't go to minus 120. But minus 118-ish, then the under will be a serious threat. But I say the over is safe. I would join the public in that instance. All right. Spurs versus Mavericks. Started out like this. Plus 265 for the Spurs, minus 330 for the Spurs on the money line. 8.5 point favorite San Antonio Spurs, well, underdog that is, San Antonio Spurs on the spread, minus 118 cost. 8.5 point favorite Mavericks at minus 105 cost for on the spread for the Mavericks. Currently, it looks like this: plus 275 for the Spurs, minus 340 for the Mavericks. So Mavericks have increased in their odds. I'm pretty sure they have increased on the splits as well, but we will check that in a moment. All right, spread is still at 8.5 points, minus 108 for the Spurs, minus 112 for the Mavericks. Over under is at 229.5 at even, minus 110 cost for each. And let's check the splits in this one. Two, well, 3% for the Spurs on the money line betting percentage and the money percentage. 3%, 97% going with the Mavericks both ways. Mavericks look like huge favorites, and their odds have increased. Their odds continue to increase, which tells me they are a safe pick in this one. And the Spurs, actually, they have decreased. They were at 280, 285 earlier. Now they're at 275, and their odds really haven't moved very much, which is insignificant. But the Mavericks have gone up. Their odds have gone up, that is, to 340, minus 340. Spread, 75% of the money going with the Mavericks, 65% going with the Mavericks on the 65% of the money, 75% of the betting going with the Mavericks in this on the spread. 8.5 points currently. At what cost? Let's see. Minus 112 for the negative 8.5 point favorite for Mavericks. I would join the public in this instance only because this has decreased. The amount of money has decreased, and these odds for San Antonio went down from minus 110. They are now at minus 108, only because their odds have decreased. Now, if their odds go back up to minus 110 or more, I would go with the Spurs on the spread. That's the only way I'd go with the Spurs on the spread if their odds go back up to minus 110 or higher. Then I would fade the public. But as it stands, I would join the public. Over under 229.5, minus 110 cost for each. All right, 77% of the betting going with the over, 59% of the money going with the over. So people expecting somewhat of a high scoring game in this one, but not a huge percentage, only 59% of the money going over. As it stands, if this 110 remains for the over under, I would join the public in the over. I would join the public in going over this 229.5. The only way I would go under is if, let's say, this goes below, let's say it goes around below 55%, 53, 52% of the money going with the over, which bumps this up to about 47%, 46, 45%. Then I would go with the under. But as it stands, I would join the public in that one. Let's go with the Oklahoma City versus Denver. 2-point favorites are the Nuggets at minus 111 cost for each. 2-point underdogs are the Thunder. All right, Oklahoma City plus 110 on the opening odds, minus 130 opening odds for the Nuggets. Where are they currently? Let me scroll down here. Plus 114 for the Thunder, minus 134 for the Nuggets. So both have increased in their respective directions. Nuggets go from minus 130 to minus 134. We will check the splits in a moment. Now they are 2.5-point favorites. They opened at 2-point favorites at minus 108 cost. The Thunder are 2.5-point underdogs at minus 112 cost. Over unders at 226 at minus 110 cost. Let's see where the splits are. All right. 70% of the money going with Oklahoma City. However, 85% of the betting. So this is basically, it's not a pick'em game, but it is somewhat of a pick'em game based off the splits. 85% going with Denver betting. 70% going with Oklahoma City. So people putting People going with Oklahoma City naturally putting heavy money on them as an underdog. Higher payout there. 42% going with the Thunder as an underdog. 41%, 42 and 41. 41% of the money going with the Thunder in that one. Now, as long as the Nuggets odds keep increasing, that's simple. Go with the Nuggets if their odds keep increasing beyond this minus 130, minus 134. If their odds keep increasing, go with the Thunder. But as more and more money goes with the Thunder, and their odds keep increasing in the positive direction, it's hard to go against the Nuggets in this one. Because the Nuggets odds are increasing, but the Thunder's odds are increasing, but they're getting 70% of the money. A larger payout here. Bookies do not want to do that. And the over-under is at 226.5. Spread, I would say whoever you go with here on the money line, you would go with on the spread. Quite simple. 59% going with Denver at that high minus 112, at that minus 108 cost. If there is a game where you would go with somewhat of a pick'em game where you would go with the money line favorite and the underdog spread, this is one you would do it with. I would go with the Thunder currently, just because of that minus 112 cost. That is it. They want that edge there at that minus 112 cost because their odds are only 41%. And the over-under, I would fade the public. I would go with the under. I would go with the under in this one because I think the overs are going to get even larger percentages here. But yeah, let's go with the next game. Minnesota versus Sacramento, open at plus 100 and minus 120. And the spread, plus 1 minus 1. Now this is more of a pick'em game here. Minus 122 money line for the Timberwolves, plus 104 for the Kings. 1.5 point favorites are the Timberwolves at minus 108 cost, plus 1.5 for the Kings at minus 112. Over under at 223, even at minus 110 cost. Let me scroll down here. All right, 85% going with Minnesota. However, 61% of the betting is going with the Kings. I would say I would join the public in this instance. That higher negative, I would join the public in that instance. But if Minnesota goes towards that 90-95%, I would fade the public and go with the Kings across the board in this one. Obviously, they're an underdog, so you would go with them on a spread as well. But yeah, I would go with the Minnesota as it currently stands, but if their odds increase too much, I would go with the Kings. All right, over-under is at 223. 223. Let's see. So people betting the overs heavily, just like they did last year, especially in the postseason, and the under hit it every time in every game of the finals. I would go with the, let's say, 18% at 82, minus 110 cost, over 226. I would actually join the public in this instance. I would go with the over 82, especially depending on where this cost is going. I would go with the over. Okay, over under 223. Minus 110 cost, I would go with the over in this instance at that minus 110 cost. However, if the cost decreases, that's where you got to consider the under. If this cost decreases below this minus 110, go with the under. It's that simple. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. You guys take care. We'll be doing World Series tomorrow, NBA tomorrow. And we will be posting NCAA picks today, NHL picks today, as well as these picks here, as well as NFL picks here. So, yeah, it's a full slate weekend as well. And soccer. We'll be doing soccer as well. But, yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Pray every day. I've been Scott. Join the Patreon. Subscribe, like. See you in the next video.